Hello and welcome back to JBCTR. Now for those that are new, my name is Johnny and today we've got something a little bit more premium. So today is my review of the BMW 330e M Sport.
Every day, 24/7, you call my name and I will come running, yeah, every day, 24/7, yeah, every day.
Now, if you are a regular viewer of JBCTR, you will know I have a real soft spot for hot hatches. I think they're fun, they're relatively quick, or at least all of them feel quick to drive, and they're pretty practical, which means they're perfect for modern life, in my humble opinion. But today, I've got something different. So BMW have invited me down to this media day, which means my time with this car is limited. But the reason I've chosen to review this car is because actually, although it's not a hot hatch, far from it, it ticks all the boxes that I like to see in a car, which hot hatches also tick. So this one is particularly good on fuel, mainly because it's a hybrid. We'll get onto that in a minute. Should be fun to drive by all accounts, we'll see. And of course, it's big and practical. So actually, for a man who likes hot hatches, this thing ticks quite a lot of my boxes, which is something I wasn't expecting. So that's the reason I've chosen to take a look at the 330e today. I kind of want to understand if this eco beast can fulfill my petrol head desires, because there's kind of two things that shouldn't go together but need to fuse together in order to move this industry forwards. And I think this car might be the answer. So now, this hybrid is clearly based on the G20 saloon, which is widely renowned as one of the best saloon vehicles currently on the market. But adding that hybrid power, in my opinion, should not change the car in any way apart from the way it drives. It shouldn't look funny, it should just integrate. And I think this car, on the face of it, has done that really, really well. Now, if we briefly talk about the G20 3 Series platform as a platform, the interior is actually really, really nice. Now, the issue that's really let down the previous generation 3 Series is the interiors, in my opinion. So for this model, they really seem to have focused on making it feel premium, because this is a premium car. The interior, other than a few little bits, if I'm nitpicky, like these paddles, they look lovely in aluminium on the front, but on the back, a bit plasticky, but the back is where you touch them, so I don't really know why they've done that. But other than that, you know, maybe the buttons on the steering wheel feel a little bit plasticky, but as I said, I am nitpicking. The interior in here is a marked improvement on the outgoing.
Please continue.
Shush! But enough about interiors and quality and all that jazz, because I'm sure the real reason why you've come to this video is to see what a hybrid drives like. So without further ado, let's press start, put on the brake, no engine startup, of course. I better put my seatbelt on, safety first, and then just simply knock it into drive, and away we go. So, I mean, I think as a petrol head, taking off and making no noise is going to take some getting used to, should we say. There's a quick spin round here, which is gives me the perfect opportunity to show you all the cameras in the car, which again, for me, is a very new thing. Now, as you can see on the screen, the cameras are all over this car. You have a very traditional reversing camera. You also have the cameras on the two wing mirrors either side, which allows you to give this view of like a bird's eye view of the car. So you can actually see the curb that's just there and the curb that's over there as if you're looking down on the car, and that's really quite cool. Although that said, my friend has recently bought a 2012 5 Series BMW, and that also had that technology. So although impressive, it's not new.
Now, I've got to admit, I love an internal combustion engine and all the angry noises that come with it. But cars sounding like this is gonna take some getting used to.
Okay, so here we are out on the open road. Now, the issue I have with reviewing a car such as this is it has so many layers and it's so complex that trying to cram everything into a 10-minute review is actually going to be quite difficult. So I thought I'd focus on the bits that matter, which are the drive modes. Now, generally in a petrol car, drive modes tend to be exhaust valves, adaptive suspension, weighted steering, that kind of stuff. But clearly in a hybrid car, it's a bit different. So I'm currently driving in eDrive mode, which is pure electric. And it's very pleasant. In fact, the acceleration from a standstill, for example, is quite rapid. But I presume driving like that, you will deplete your battery pretty quick. You also have a hybrid mode. So if we stick it into hybrid, okay, so the petrol engine has fired up, I think. But incredibly, you don't notice it at all. And the automatic gearbox is really slick and really, really smooth. I mean, if you want luxury, this is pretty up there. It's lovely in here. It's really nice, and the hybrid drivetrain really lends itself to that vibe. Like, it's quiet, relaxed. And then if I put my foot down, I mean, it surges forward quite nicely. Bear in mind, we are in hybrid mode right now. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to put you on the edge of your seat, but it's nice. It's pleasant. But I'm sure what you really want to hear about is sport. So, let's try sport. Now we're in sport, which is maximum electric and combustion drive power with a dynamic vehicle setting, according to my little screen. So, yeah, let's see. Okay, that's a bit quick. Whoa, my word. Okay, so what happened there is I first put my foot on the accelerator and put it to the floor, and it was relatively impressive. I was pleased with the progress I was making. But then there's a little button, kick down button, underneath the accelerator, and that enables a feature called Extra Boost, which is a terrible name. But what Extra Boost does is boost the power of the car temporarily up to 289 horsepower. Now, this car is not a light car, but even so, that's more than enough power to really get this thing shifting along quite nicely. And given that I'm still in sport mode and hootering, that luxury feel is still there until you want to put your foot down, and it just immediately goes. Wow. And that is why this is called the 330e and not anything else. I don't want to be stuck behind a lorry, so let's spin around and then we'll go a bit further, shall we? Over towards FIESTA. Let's do. Whoa! And actually, the sound of the engine in the cabin is very reminiscent of a proper engine, should we say. Now, I know it's fake. I get that it's fake, and I know it's been pumped into the cabin. And deep down, I hate that. But actually, when you're sat here driving the car, it's pretty easy to forget that it's fake and carry on enjoying the car. Honestly, it's pretty nice. Now, of course, in order to make this hybrid, there have been a few sacrifices. Now, namely the batteries. So batteries are heavy, which is the biggest issue with hybrid cars. So in order to sort of alleviate the effects of having a really heavy set of batteries in this car, what they've done is they've moved the fuel tank to the boot and put the batteries where the old fuel tank used to be, which means it's just over the rear axle, and therefore the weight distribution of the car is quite good. Now, as the extra weight is over the back axle, it means that the steering feel at the front is not really changed too much from the standard 3 Series, which for me was a very good shout. I mean, well done BMW. But the downside of taking that is they need to move the petrol tank somewhere. So they put it in the boot, and that's fine, but you lose boot space, and because they obviously don't want to lose too much boot space, you've ended up with a really small fuel tank. Now, the fuel tank in this car is 40 litres. Now, I understand that may not mean a lot to some of you, so just for comparison, the current generation of Fiesta, so the one that I drive and all the 1 litres and everything, they have a 42 litre tank. So my Fiesta actually has a bigger fuel tank than this does. But that said, as fuel economy is vastly improved on a hybrid, maybe you don't need as much fuel on board. So we'll see. I guess that will come out in the wash from living with one of these. And of course, that's something I can't ascertain from my test drive today.
I can take you anywhere you want if you come with me tonight. I can show you things you've never seen if you come with me tonight.
Now, when it comes to charging the car, obviously everything you need to charge the car is included and is stored here in the boot. Now, before I get onto that, you may be able to see in here that the boot floor is raised, and that's what I was referring to earlier. Now, you do have this little compartment here which could be useful for storing charging cables and stuff, which I think is probably not a bad shout. If you don't fancy using that, your charging cables come in a little pouch like this, which then attaches over there. And that's all very boring. So in terms of charging, you get an adapter, you get a 3-pin plug, and obviously the plug that goes into the car, and the flap is round there. And let me show you that in a second. Now, when it comes to putting this thing on charge, I mean, it couldn't really be simpler. You simply push to open this little flappy thing here, plug in your thing, and then you plug your other thing into a standard 3-pin socket. I mean, you can't really complain at the simplicity of that. So there we have it. There is my brief overview of the 330e, and overall it's a bloody good car. As a petrol head myself, I don't think I could be converted to go electric, but if there's anything that could, I mean, this is certainly a start on me at least, as the instant torque and acceleration of the electric motor combined with what is a pretty decent 2-litre turbocharged engine is actually a really sweet combination. The downside, of course, is the weight of the batteries, but I think BMW have done well to manage that in this particular car. Now, the one thing I would say is, because this is such a well-spec'd piece of kit, I have not even scratched the surface of all the features that come on this. All I did was look at it from a real driver's point of view. So I'd love to spend a bit more time with this car, but unfortunately that won't be today. Now, I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of me and cars and that kind of stuff, then feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.
There goes a sight from my soul.